What's going on, Breigh? How you feeling today?
What's up, Solomon? I'm feeling great. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. I need to get your take on something really quickly. So we were talking about this since you're creative and shoot, you're just a human. You understand how
Yes.
things like there's like I was telling you, I have an issue. We were talking about recording last week, and I have an issue sometimes with like trying to get to the next project, trying to get to the next project, being in the grind and getting it done. And then when it gets done, not really being satisfied. Like, and I
That's
think I think I have like a perfection issue, but like I always wonder like what's the thin line between being like content and like not being satisfied. You know what I'm saying?
I I think for me, when you say that, I think it's a process for, creative. For example, say you start off as this person who had an idea for a book and you go through the different revisions of the book and you finally write the book and publish the book. And then it's just like you're already thinking what's next, I'm sure, and you're probably not satisfied with it. So it's like I feel like me as a creative, I don't know if I'll ever be satisfied. Like I think it becomes like different levels of like, okay, I did this thing, but what's next? What's next? And I do want to be like more mindful of that, of just like appreciating the present moment of celebrating my wins and goals, because I don't do that at all. I'm like you. I'm like, am I satisfied? Am I content? And when I don't feel that, I get in my head and then there's this whole thing.
No, I think about that because like I look at somebody like Issa Rae. If you Issa Rae, I have to ask myself like, dang, is she ever like satisfied or is she ever feeling like there's more she could accomplish? And like
I don't think anyone in Hollywood is. I think they're already thinking about their next thing because it's how they eat.
I can see
You
that.
already have to move on to the next thing before you can even celebrate the thing that you've done, because you got to eat.
I can see that. I can see that. And like I think I started a process last year that like kind of helps me, and it's not perfect, but to talk about what you were saying with like celebrating my wins, what I've done is like I started to take pictures of things that I accomplish every month, and I keep it in like a folder. And sometimes when I feel like I'm not doing enough, I look at it and I'll be like, oh shoot,
What makes us feel like we're not doing enough? Is
you
it the
know,
pressures of society or is it really us?
I saw a video yesterday, so I've been I've been getting my YouTube on since I ain't doing social media. Still
Yeah,
social, but
nice.
there was a channel called School of Life, and the guy was on there talking about this philosopher like Voltaire, and he was like, cultivate your own garden. That was basically it.
Mm,
And the problem I think is we've created a culture where like if you're not famous, you're not
mm,
anything, and we
yeah,
just don't want to focus on like cultivating our own happiness, our own
yeah.
contentment, because we can make ourselves happy a lot easier than the world can. But
Very true. And all of our success is defined differently. Like some people's success could be, I made it out the house today and I had a good day at work today. It's totally different.
I know a lot of people, and it sounds trivial. I know a lot of people who would just be like, I woke up today, I'm
Mhm.
successful. I exercised today, I'm successful. I didn't eat that cookie today, I'm successful.
Yeah.
And I realize like if we making our own selves happy, like sometimes the happiest day to me is just like, man, I got everything I wrote down done. Or sometimes it's like, I finally saw that movie. I finally read that book. I finally called so and so. We squashed this and that. But when we start putting it in the world's focus, we're like, dang, man, so and so
Yeah.
got a job. Like that FOMO, man, that fear of missing out is
Yeah.
real,
Or
bro.
dang, such and such doing that. If I just stayed on my course, I could be doing that too. And the comparison game starts to happen. Even when you tell yourself, I'm not gonna compare myself, and you find yourself scrolling, comparing.
And
We're all
see,
guilty of it.
that
Absolutely.
that's the hardest part for me because like I'm getting caught up. A lot of times I'm getting caught up in like somebody said, imaginary competitions.
Ooh.
Now, people don't want to have that real convo, but you an imaginary and men have this all the time. This is where men's jealousy comes
Yeah.
from.
And
Secret
that shows
competition,
too. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
some of the people I'm talking about ain't gonna hear this, but it's
When
just
you
that.
say with men, I say that shows because sometimes I just feel like when men get in their imaginary competition, it's almost like who has the biggest private part than who. Like that's what it feels like when I watch
That's
that.
all it is. And
Yeah.
and I think that's the problem, man, because it's like somebody, I think Killer Mike said one time, he was like, you don't have to go make a bunch of money and buy a bunch of bottles that are shiny for other men to notice you. And I
Yeah,
was like, I laughed, but we
it's
be
true.
competing for the attention. Now we're competing for the attention of other men's validation. It used to be
Mhm.
competing for women's attention, but
Yeah,
now men compete for other men to be like, bro, you so amazing and great. And
yeah.
it's just weird because you're not gonna be, it's like if you like I said, you live for the cheers, you'll die by the bullets. I keep
Ooh,
trying to tell myself that like people are literally gonna praise you and in the same mouth say you ain't nothing. Like you can't
yeah.
live for that criticism or
That's the
validation.
Jeezy quote for me. They hate you, they love you, they hate you again, they love you again. Yeah, I love that Jeezy quote.
It's like I think Jay Z said something on Most Kings. He was like, they want to kill you, dig you up, and bury you again. Like, what y'all want,
Yeah,
man? Like, people love to be like, oh man, you're doing so great, and then the next minute be like, like I witnessed that last year, like on a small level. It was literally people that were like telling me they were so proud of what I was writing. I said one thing they don't agree with, they throwing me completely out. And I kind of was like, and I had to ask myself, I was like, why do I care what they think? They're
mm,
not bringing anything of value to my life.
right.
But
I
we done
wonder
got
what validation is that our little child too.
that's it. And we were just talking about that.
Because
We all
validation has a lot. Validation for me in my life had a lot of power, a lot of power. Like if you wasn't telling me about my looks or about my or what I'm doing, I didn't think that I was worthy enough.
and see, I'm gonna say this too. You can't confine things to gender, but every kid has certain needs. But certain kids, like I was that kid. If you would just be like, if you saw me and was like, "Oh, you still doing such a great job," I was straight for
Yeah,
the whole day because
yeah,
I
same.
got what I need. And I think it was like that video was saying I was telling you about on School of Life. We all just need reassurance, and reassurance comes in different ways. And
Yeah,
I think when we hear people say things, we feel reassured. But
yeah,
the struggle for contentment and not being content is our personal reassurance. Like,
yeah, very true. And when we're
I
doing stuff, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you fine. I was just gonna say
I was
like
gonna say when we're doing stuff, like, just be mindful of that validation because if you're only working with that applause, when you're not working, it's gonna really devastate you. It's gonna mess you up.
And I
It's gonna
think
mess
the
you up.
thing, no, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I was
Uh,
saying the thing I think I've learned is that I have to compare. I think somebody was saying when you compare yourself to where you used to be, you're gonna always feel better.
Ooh,
You know what
ooh.
I'm saying? Like I
Where
look
you
at
used to be, Sam?
when I look at where I was in college to now, I'm already the hero I needed. You know what I'm saying? Like
Ooh.
a lot of times I be telling myself like if I don't have to be famous I prove to myself or I'm proving to myself what I need to prove. I don't need to be famous, but there's another part of me like, but you gotta see me on top, da da da. And
Mm.
then I just be realizing, so if you don't get there, you're gonna feel like you failed because other people gonna feel like you won. So it's relative, you
What
know.
is really on top though? There's even levels to things. There's levels to on top. Like I see people like flaunt their money and stuff on the internet, which is cool if that's your thing. But then there's like these big high roads, and you like that money is chump change. There's levels to this.
And
But I
I
guess
think
it just means what is this fame for you? I guess I don't want fame. I would just like to be acknowledged for my work.
and
But
see
fame, that whole like someone invading my privacy and knowing my locations and showing up to my house, absolutely not.
I think the big thing is that's me too. I don't want that. I think the thing I've always wanted is the thing that I love for people to see my ability with it and from what I say or do to influence other people positively. That's really it. Now, when I look at the realm of like education, I'm already in my view and in a lot of other people's views, I'm already achieving. I got a lot of students who be like, man, my life is changed because of you. And I feel grateful for that. So in a lot of senses, I have succeeded. I'm healthy, I'm alive, I'm making money, I have love, I'm working on loving myself better. I'm winning in a lot of senses. There's people who got more
Yeah.
than me who just you're not happy. You don't know how to get to be happy. You don't
Mm.
have love. You have money. You don't have love. You have love. You don't have money. You like it's a lot of things. So
What do you think about happiness? Because I have a theory about it after reading a book.
I really think happiness is I think happiness is losing attachment to
Mm,
this. Like once you lose the attachment to a desire, like the
mm.
Buddha, I'm gonna get Buddhist. Once you lose the attachment
Yes,
to
that's where
want,
I was going. Yes, let's go.
the Aries connection, I'm telling you, yo.
Yes, suffering and happiness. Yes, let's go.
Preach it. I'm listening. Preach.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, read a book called No Mud, No Lotus
Oh, I
by
heard about that.
Titan. I don't know if I said his name right, but he's amazing. He drops amazing gems and he just talks about how suffering and happiness go hand in hand. It goes hand in hand, and with happiness is not going to be every day. And just because you're not happy today, it doesn't mean like life is terrible. No, we are going to, I call them mountains. You're going to have a mountain. You're going to have a mountain all the time. You could just like, for me, I don't know what's next in my life, you know? And it's like mountain after mountain I'm dealing with, but it's like, okay, I got over this. There's going to be another one. And it's not for me to be like, oh, I'm expecting it to come. It's like, it will come, but I'm accepting it now instead of being like, no, don't come mountain, please. When you, I'm really learning when you let go and accept, blessings come in. Not how you want it, not how you want it at all, which can be a battle. But when you learn to accept and let go, things happen. They really do, but it just takes time. So I'm glad you, yeah, getting your Buddhist, let's get in our Buddhist bag. I'm so
No,
glad you said
I mean, because I used to read a lot of when I went through a period where I was reading like Lao Tzu and the
that.
I
Ooh.
Ching and all that stuff.
Isn't
And
it peaceful for your soul?
it is, and I might want to
Yeah.
get back to it. And
Yeah.
the thing it kept telling me was like desire is the root of unhappiness. And it started making me
Ooh.
realize like when I would like you were saying, when I learned to accept what life gave me, I could see the blessing in the bad and the
Yeah.
good. The
But you
blessing
still want
is
that thing.
like I used to tell somebody when I didn't have money, I realized the blessing was that I could call somebody to help me. That's the blessing.
Oh.
Like I said, dang, you never had certain things, but you could always ask somebody. That's a blessing that people
Asking.
didn't
It's
have.
hard to ask too. Yeah, that's a good point.
You know
That's
what
a
I'm
good
saying?
point.
Or when I was like, I didn't have the position. Like I used to go through a big period of like, I won't say jealousy, I say envy. Or I felt unacknowledged. I was
No,
like,
that's
man, I'm
honest.
great.
Envy
I'm
and
great.
jealousy are real. You're not a bad person if you have envy and jealousy. I've had it. I've done it. Like it's not a bad thing. It's a real feeling.
And like to tie into that, like I used to be like, dang, people have positions or they have things that I don't have. And
Exactly.
now when I look at how things turn out, I was like, that was what was forging you. That forged
Yeah.
the desire. But even then, the people you were helping didn't care about you having that. They
Mm,
wanted you for who you were. Like my students weren't saying you're not a principal or you're
yeah.
not a coach. They were like, you my hero. Like I need you just to be who you are right now. And then that's when it started hitting me. The blessing is I still have. I didn't lose. I have to gain. I have more to gain. That's the blessing. And like
Yeah.
if you look at life like that, like I don't have, but every day I wake up, I have the opportunity to gain more. That's the blessing.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly. Oh, that's a good point. Really good point. And that book also mentioned like you having everything you need in it. Every time I read that, it was like it would center me of like get out your head. But it's just like me as that creative, just like I just want somebody to say they read my stuff and I helped them,
that's
or
the
I enjoy, or they enjoyed reading. And I don't know, that might be ego of wanting that. I don't know, but I think just me of just wanting someone to just be like, hey, I think what you're doing out there is giving good back to the world, honestly.
and I feel that way and I still feel that way. And I think that's why my social media fast has been hard because I love the validation of a person liking a
That's
post
honest.
or
Yeah, that's honest.
but I literally when you were saying that it made me think about like Bruce Lee. We talk a lot about like when he was saying like be like water, we really, really was not getting it. Like you literally have to go with my dad told me something I never forget. He said, when life shows you a flow, don't fight the flow, go with it. And it's the same thing. Like in life, you got to realize like flow is wherever you at, you go with that energy. Now, if you don't like
Hard,
something, you can change it, but sometimes you
hard.
can't go against the current. You just got to roll with it. Like, and I think it's the same with creating. You just create what people gonna do what they're gonna do. Like
Yeah.
Gary Vee was doing that thing for years, and now
Mhm.
people just go back and look at all his stuff and be like, I'm looking at videos from 15 years ago, and that's why I tell myself like, there's gonna come a day where people gonna go back and be like, man, I had that book when it first came
Yeah,
out. It was so
absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. And it also goes back to that, like, it reminds me of like, it's on my effort, but it's not on my outcome. But that's
Mhm.
so hard as a human. It's like me
You,
saying it's my effort, but it's God for me outcome. And that's hard for me because self wants what it wants, you know?
and you remember we were talking like a week or so ago. I told you about that book, Master the Code. One of the,
Oh, I can't wait to dive into it. I bought it.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we low key need to get our book club via text going because them bars you was sending me, I was like, yo.
Yo, so to my people listening, Darren Gold, Master the Code. Yo, it's so good. Like, but there was a point in there where he was saying one of the 6 steps of like, growing is not being attached to the outcome. And that's
Mm,
always been the hardest thing for me. Not putting in the work, not the
yeah.
mastery. The work is hard sometimes, but it's not being attached to the outcome. It's realizing you can do everything right and it's still not up to you how it's gonna turn out. Like,
That part. Yeah,
mm,
because I also think you just want the outcome of it being praised too, because all the hours it took, all the mental challenges it took, all everything you had to go through to literally get to that point.
now
So I
here's
understand that
here's where
too.
the ego breaks that we don't want to admit though. We
Uh-oh.
put in work, but we never want to admit that maybe, just maybe, despite our efforts and our ability, our perceived ability, maybe it just was not meant for you to be Ta-Nehisi. Like sometimes I be telling myself,
Oh yeah, no.
I'd be like, maybe you're not meant
Yeah,
to be Ta-Nehisi. That doesn't mean that you're not still great though. And that
yeah.
doesn't mean that he's better
Oh,
than you. Like my younger brother had to tell me that. He was like, when you see somebody doing what you do and you get really close, you realize they're doing the same thing you do. They have more money and they
yeah,
have more people that know it. It doesn't make you any less capable.
it doesn't. And
It's
I
just,
have another one for you. For me, that's helped me too. Because I had a teacher tell me one time when I was in a screenwriting class, he was like, "Oh, you're trying to be the next Issa Rae." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm trying to be Breigh Walls." And I think we should really stop doing that. Oh, the next Diddy, the next Oprah, and da da da. No, let Oprah and Diddy and Issa Rae be them, because
mhm.
it then puts a pressure on yourself for no reason. You just be you. You don't need to be the next of nothing, because I found myself comparing myself to these people who did all this work and also like envying it, and also like just seeing like I gotta be like this. It's like, no, I don't. We have totally different journeys and totally different times. They probably didn't go through addiction like I did while trying to pursue writing, like so many different dynamics. So it's just like I think for creatives, it's like don't compare yourself and call yourself the next of nothing. Just be the you, like be the you. There's no you out there. And I'm being so serious because I think it puts a pressure that you don't even need to say, well, I'm gonna be the next such and such. Like, you don't have to do that. You
That's
don't
gonna be
have to do that.
that's gonna be the name of the episode. Be the you of you. But that's real because I remember one of my homies.
Pressure.
Well, let me not say my homies. One of the people that I went to school with in high school.
Quality.
And it's funny. I think I had said something like that at the time. I was like, man, I'm trying to be like that. That is like, be the first Samuel Wright.
Period.
That's real. And to piggyback off what you were saying, I guess the big thing is, as a creative, like we want that validation. Like, cause I look up to Richard Wright, so I always be like, man, his
Uh
work touched generations. I'm trying to have that impact. But then,
Mine would be Pharrell, but not on music wise, just like of how like you just take all the things you're passionate about and just do it. It would be a Pharrell and a mix of Issa, definitely.
so Pharrell is my
Pharrell,
favorite.
Issa, Donald Glover, those three. That's my
Okay.
three.
Okay, I was gonna say Pharrell is my favorite producer. Of course,
Yeah,
Issa is,
yeah.
one of my inspirations. I can't even front like that. I have so many people that
I
created.
have so many people, but it's just like I understand like that's them. And I also think when you're saying that you're the next, you're gonna find yourself trying to do exactly what they did, and that's just not how life goes. Like, no.
And I think the big thing I learned, like I use the example, Ray Charles first, yeah, he got on first, like imitating Nat Cole. He blew up when he just became Ray Charles.
Wow. No, I do think like you shouldn't say that you're gonna be the next, but you're definitely going to take influence from other
Oh
people.
yeah, we
Until
all.
like just like J. Cole said, you're gonna find your own voice. It happens, but I do think that I think that happens naturally a lot where you're like, I'm influenced by this person and you end up finding yourself almost, I don't know if copying is the word. I don't want to say inspired because how we use inspired now is copying people. We got to stop doing that. Y'all know I'm going to say it again. Stop saying inspiration. You're stealing.
You're still
But anyways, yeah. So
no, that's real. And I think nothing is original. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm not gonna
nothing is
original
original.
thought is not
No.
existent.
But there's so many ways you can do stuff. That's
That
my other rant. We getting lazy with creativity, y'all. We
I,
are.
I will say that now.
We are. Y'all can make other stuff.
This is my personal thought. That's how I feel about music. Not me being mean.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
have to keep biting the 90s. You don't.
no.
Because
And
now
we
I'm
can
saying
let
it's
Migo
biting
Flow
the
go.
2010s. But
Yeah, we can also let Migo Flow go, honestly. It's
man,
played
and then
out.
they got that flow from
I
three.
I don't even think Migos had their own flow no more because everybody done used it. Like we can
Don't.
let that go.
And I think that's my thing. Like, and I'll never forget this video. I'm gonna just sum up my talking.
Yeah.
Robert Greene, the guy who did the 48 Laws of Power book, he did a video, and he was
Yeah.
talking about in Buddhism the idea of Dharma, and
Ah.
he was saying essentially that there are periods. The Buddhists believed in periods of time, and the first
Oh
period of
yeah.
time was like pure creativity, original thought. They said
Mm.
the period we're in now is where it's people taking original thoughts and just
Yes.
slicing it 20 different ways.
Yep.
We're
And seeing
going
it
into
as
an
it's there.
era where you're
Yep.
gonna have to be completely original and start over again.
That's why I just really appreciate standouts who just really you can when you see a standout, you can really just see how they took the time out to really do their work. Like I think you're a standout. I honestly think I'm a standout because I I don't like it, man. I just like people who do stuff that they wanted to do because they want to do it. See, I'm getting my nerd bag about passion. Like, I just like people to create things that really resonate with them and not just see something and just like, well, let me change the color. I just saw a guy who like completely went off the other day on Instagram. He's a designer and he was like, I'm just gonna give you guys the font, the color, and everything I use since you guys all take it from me. He's like, it's not mine, but you're taking my style. And what he did was he gave it all to him just to say, instead of copying me and denying it, here is it all, and let's have a conversation about it. And I was like,
That's real. You know,
real
this is something we could talk about all day because people say good art borrows,
all
good
day.
art steals. But I'll
Be
just
a
say,
standout, y'all. Be a standout, please.
be a standout. And when it comes to like that contentment, like I said, I'd say to you what helped me.
Mm,
Like Carmen mentioned that lady, she said your art, your job is to channel the emotion of what you're feeling into art, not to control how people
mm.
take it. So that's
I'm
it.
so glad you said that. I think honestly that would be my satisfied. If whatever I create and it channeled emotions out of someone, like they really felt where I was coming from, I think I would be satisfied. Okay, let me not lie. I would be satisfied at the
Oh, a
moment because
little
then
bit.
I'll be thinking about, okay, what's my next one to get him?
You be trying to
Okay,
figure out how
I
to
just caught that. Ah, I love when you bring emotion out of people. I'm nerding out. I just love through art, through like visuals, through words, especially. You just bring those emotions out. I just appreciate art and creativity so much.
No, I agree. I agree.
Oh,
But yo, we want to know what y'all think. What do y'all think? How do y'all feel? Can a person ever really truly be content? What can make you
can
content?
they ever be satisfied? I don't think we can ever be satisfied with life, so probably not. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I just want to hear what other people think. So
Yeah, absolutely. Leave comments, y'all. Thank you again for your support.
thank y'all again for the support. And until next time, peace.